English Listening Practice. Episode 24.
Hello, English learners, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We've been looking at some really interesting sources today, all focused on a pretty exciting topic.
That's right. We're talking about using artificial intelligence, specifically ChatGPT, to help you really boost your English skills.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area. Our mission really in this Deep Dives is to unpack how this AI tool can genuinely work for you as, well, almost like a personal English tutor.
And the sources we looked at, they paint a picture of ChatGPT acting like this tireless teacher, or maybe even just a friendly practice buddy.
Someone who's there whenever you need them, ready to help with speaking, writing, vocab, grammar, you name it.
Exactly. Available anytime, anywhere. That idea itself feels like a big shift for language learning, doesn't it?
It really does. So let's get into it. What actually is ChatGPT, based on what we've seen, and why is it supposedly so good for English learners?
Okay, so fundamentally, the sources describe it as, a smart AI chatbot from OpenAI. But the key for learners isn't just that it's AI, it's the foundation.
Its foundation. What does that mean exactly? How is it different from, say, just using Google Translate or a dictionary app?
Well, it's been trained on just a huge amount of text. Think books, websites, articles, but also, critically, loads and loads of conversations.
So not just rules and definitions, but how people actually use English.
Precisely. That's the core thing. It gives it this deep understanding of the language, from the very basics right up to quite advanced, complex stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. And because of that training?
Because of that, its main capability for you as a learner is that it can chat with you. It can interact in a way that feels quite natural, almost like talking to a person.
And the sources really seem to stress the experience for the learner. Things like, it doesn't get impatient.
Right. It won't get tired if you ask the same question 5 times. And it doesn't judge your mistakes, which is massive.
Yeah, that non-judgmental part sounds key. Learning a language, you often feel a bit exposed, right? Worried about sounding silly.
Totally. And that fear can stop you from practicing. So having a tool that just helps, without any criticism, that removes a big hurdle.
Plus the availability you mentioned, it's just there, on your phone, your computer, 24/7.
Like a private tutor, always on call, fitting into your schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's patient too.
Yeah.
The sources point out you can ask it to explain something complicated, then say, okay, explain that again, but simpler, and it'll just do it.
Okay, so that combination, understanding natural language, being interactive, patient, non-judgmental, always available, that sets the stage for how you can use it.
It does. It frames it as this really powerful, flexible language partner.
So let's get practical.
Wow.
What are the specific ways the sources suggest you can actually use ChatGPT to get better at English?
Right, the how-to. The sources detail several powerful methods. One big one is practicing speaking.
Speaking, but you're typing to it, right?
You are, yes. But you type out conversational turns, you have a back and forth dialogue. The sources even give a specific prompt you can use to start.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Something like, let's do a conversation in English. Ask me questions and correct my answers. Simple as that.
Okay, so you're telling it up front what you want to do, have a chat, and get corrections.
Exactly. And then as you type your responses, you get feedback in real time. It might point out a grammar mistake right away or suggest a more natural way to phrase something.
I see. So it's not just chatting, it's guided practice with instant feedback. That sounds much more active than just reading something.
It is. You're producing language.
Yeah.
You're getting immediate pointers on how to improve. What about vocabulary? That's always a challenge.
Definitely. How can it help there? The sources must cover that.
Oh, absolutely. They say it's great for building vocab because you can ask for words related to topics you find interesting, not just random lists.
So tailored vocabulary.
Yeah. The example prompt given is something like, teach me 5 useful English words about travel, with example sentences.
And getting those example sentences is crucial, right? I remember reading that learning words in context is way better.
Way better. The sources really emphasize this. Seeing the word used in a real sentence helps you understand its meaning, its feel, and which other words it usually goes with. It sticks much better than just a definition.
Okay, that makes sense. Context is king. So we've got speaking practice via typing and targeted vocabulary. What about writing? Lots of learners struggle with writing emails or essays.
Yep, another strong point according to the sources. You can paste in anything you've written, could be an email draft, a journal entry, whatever.
And then ask it for feedback.
Exactly. Use a prompt like, please correct my grammar and explain what mistakes I made.
And the key part there is the explain, isn't it? not just fixing it, but telling you why.
That's the learning part. It gives you the corrected text, sure,
Right.
but it also points out the errors and explains the rule or the reason behind the correction, so you actually understand what went wrong and hopefully don't make the same mistake next time.
That why is so important for actually improving. Okay, and then there's grammar itself. The rules can feel so overwhelming sometimes.
They really can. But the sources highlight how ChatGPT can act like a personal grammar tutor. Instead of getting lost in a huge textbook, you ask it a specific question you're stuck on.
Like what? What's an example?
Well, a really common point of confusion they mention is, what is the difference between present perfect and past simple?
Oh, classic. So many learners get tripped up by that one.
Right. And the benefit is you get a clear explanation, often with really simple examples that make the abstract rule much easier to grasp. It's like having a grammar expert on call, just for you.
So speaking vocab, writing, grammar, those are the big skills. Did the sources mention anything about like daily routine or motivation?
They did. Consistency is key, we all know that. And the sources suggest ChatGPT can help structure your daily practice. You can actually ask it for tasks.
Like, what should I study today?
Pretty much. Prompts like, give me a daily English task to practice reading and speaking. Or maybe, give me a short English story to read today.
Ah, so it can provide direction if you're not sure what to focus on.
Exactly. It can give you small, manageable tasks, acting a bit like a teacher setting homework, or even give you little quizzes. It helps build that regular habit.
That structure and personalization sound incredibly valuable. Let's make it even clearer. The sources included a really detailed example, didn't they? Showing how this interaction might actually play out.
Yes, a step-by-step example focused on practicing conversation about food. It really shows the interactive learning process.
Okay, so how does it start? You tell ChatGPT what you want to do.
Right. You set the scene. The instruction used in the source example was, ChatGPT, ask me 5 questions about food. Correct my grammar after each answer.
Clear instructions. Topic, format, number of questions, and feedback style.
Got it. Then ChatGPT kicks things off. It might ask something like, what is your favorite dish to cook?
Okay. And let's say the learner answers, maybe with a typical error like, I like cooked pasta with tomato sauce.
Perfect example. Now, here's where the AI's role as a tutor comes in. It doesn't just say, okay, and ask the next question.
It corrects it.
It corrects it and explains it gently. Something like, okay, good start. The correct way is, I like to cook pasta with tomato sauce. Remember, after the verb like, we usually use the to plus verb form, the infinitive.
Ah, so it fixes the specific mistake and gives the rule right then and there.
Exactly. It's active learning. You use the language, you make a mistake, you get immediate, relevant feedback. The sources argue this is super effective because the correction is tied directly to your own attempt, making it much more memorable.
That makes total sense. Learning by doing with instant correction. Did the sources have other examples? Maybe something more creative?
They did mention another cool use. Asking ChatGPT to create something for you to practice with. Like, ask it to write a short story using specific vocabulary words you want to learn.
Oh, interesting. Like, write me a story using delicious, restaurant, waiter, hungry, and order.
Precisely. And it will generate a little story incorporating those words. This gives you reading practice where you see your target vocabulary used naturally in context. It's a fun way to reinforce learning.
Okay, so lots of powerful ways to use it. Now, moving on to making the most of it. What tips did the sources offer for really effective learning with ChatGPT?
Right, optimizing your practice. The number one tip, echoed across the sources, is consistency. Use it every day.
Every single day, even if it's just for a little bit.
Especially if it's just for a little bit. The sources stress that even 10 or 15 minutes daily adds up significantly. Because it's always there, it fits into those small pockets of time we all have. Make it a habit.
Good advice. What else? Something about making it relevant.
Yes, huge point. Talk about things that matter to you. Use your practice time to discuss your actual life, your job, your hobbies, your opinions, what you did yesterday.
Because learning language for stuff you actually care about makes it stick better.
Exactly. It makes the English you're learning feel immediately useful and more memorable than just doing abstract exercises. It's about real communication.
Makes sense. And what about mistakes? We mentioned it's non-judgmental.
The sources really hammer this home. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. See ChatGPT as a safe sandbox. Try out that new grammar structure. Use that new word. If you get it wrong, that's fine. That's how you learn, especially when it gives you the correction and explanation.
That's so important for building confidence. What if an explanation it gives is still too hard to understand?
There's a simple trick for that, highlighted in the sources. Just tell it. Explain in simple English.
Oh, nice. So you can ask it to simplify things.
Yep. If a grammar rule or definition is confusing, use that phrase, and it will try to rephrase using easier words and sentence structures. Puts you in control.
Very useful. Any other key tips?
One more big one. Challenge yourself with role plays.
Role plays, like pretending to be someone else.
Yeah. It helps you practice English for specific real-world situations. You tell ChatGPT what role you want it to play and what role you'll play.
Can you give an example?
Sure, the sources suggested prompts like, pretend you are a travel agent and I am booking a flight. Or maybe, pretend you are my English teacher giving me a short quiz on phrasal verbs.
Ah, okay, so you practice the kind of language you'd actually need in those scenarios, like ordering food, making appointments, things like that.
Exactly. It builds your practical communication skills and your confidence for when you face those situations for real.
Looking at all this, the personalization, the instant feedback, the different practice methods, you can really see why the sources are framing AI, like ChatGPT, as, well, potentially the future of language learning.
Yeah, when you step back, the advantages are pretty compelling, aren't they? You get practice tailored specifically to your level and your questions. You get answers instantly.
No waiting for the teacher or the next class.
Right. And you can repeat things endlessly if you need to without worrying about boring someone. You learn at your own speed, no pressure.
It really contrasts with some traditional methods, doesn't it? Where you might feel rushed or shy about speaking up or just limited by class times.
Definitely. And for anyone who struggles with those things, shyness, finding time, maybe lack of local resources, having this kind of patient, private, always-on tutor, it removes some major roadblocks.
It really puts you, the learner, in the driver's seat.
And it all comes back to that fundamental principle. The more you use English, the better you get. The sources suggest ChatGPT just makes that essential practice more accessible, maybe more fun, and definitely more personalized than ever before.
So for everyone listening, thinking about your own English goals, remember that improving is absolutely possible. You have the power, and practice is the path.
And tools like ChatGPT, based on what we've seen, look set to be incredibly helpful companions on that path.
Whether you're just asking a quick grammar question,
Or having a full conversation,
learning new words for your job,
or getting feedback on your writing, it's all there.
the key is to engage with it, be consistent, and try to enjoy the journey of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little bit of practice counts.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on all this. Consider how having this kind of tireless, non-judgmental tutor instantly available and focused entirely on your specific needs and questions actually changes the game for language practice. How might that constant personalized access potentially accelerate your learning compared to older methods that were maybe limited by time, place, or even just the fear of making mistakes? Something to think about as you continue your English journey.